Today I'm going to share with you 7 questions that I ask myself before I thrift an item, and stick with me to the very end because I have a bonus question that I ask myself, and it's turned out to be probably the most meaningful question that I ask myself, and it's probably the most rewarding. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Jody and I'm really excited that you're here today. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. Usually I take you out thrifting or I show you my crafting adventures. Today we're going to talk about something that I know we all struggle with. We all struggle with going to that thrift store, seeing an item, falling in love with it, putting it in our cart, taking it home, and then what do we do with it? Sometimes it stays in the car for, weeks on end, or it sits on the counter and we don't put it away. Well, today I want to talk with you about 7 questions that I have begun to ask myself when I go thrifting and if I'm going to pick up an item. And then if you stick with me to the very end, like I said, I'll have a bonus question that I ask myself. It really has become probably the most meaningful question I ask myself. And because of that, I wanted to share my adventures with you. So if this sounds like something that you really would like to learn more about, or if you'd like to spend some more time with me to talk about my thrifting adventures or my crafting adventures, please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing, but boy, does it pay me rewards. Definitely, I get a benefit from knowing that you are subscribed and you want to be a part of this channel, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Boy, I honestly did not realize how much my last video was going to resonate with you. My last video was talking about my challenges and what I've learned from thrifting too much. And I was surprised that it hit home with people as much as it did, because I honestly thought that this was something that I struggled with and that maybe it was something wrong with me. But I think everybody has just that something that they do in their life that is just to the excess, and they don't know how to handle it. So I'm really appreciative for those of you who have weighed in or watched that video. I'll make sure I put a link up so you guys can watch it again. If you haven't seen it, please take the time to watch it. It really does mean a lot to me. And it might, shed some light on some of the challenges that you're having. And, it's good to know that you're not alone. And it's also good to know that there might be some tips that you had not considered in that video. So please definitely take some time to watch that video. It really does mean a lot. So today we're going to talk about some tips that I have kind of come across as I've tried to become a reformed thrifter. Okay, let me just kind of define that a little bit. I love to thrift. When the pandemic hit, I don't know, something about me, kind of changed. And I was like, you know what, as soon as the thrift store started opening, I was like, I got to go thrift. I got to thrift everything. And it became something that was part of my identity. Obviously, I started this channel around it. Much of my decor here behind me has been thrifted. Actually, as I look behind me, everything has been thrifted in this room that's behind me right now. And, that's a sense of pride. And that's something that I'm really thankful for, because I have some really nice things in my house that have come to me in either free or cheap form. And yet I've been able to create some really nice decor. But the challenge is where is enough? And I think I kind of came to that point recently where I was thinking about it, like, what is enough? And do I need more? And so I've kind of slowed down my shopping. In fact, I probably have only thrifted a couple of times in this year. In 2024, I've only probably thrifted a few times this year. And, compared to 2023, 2024, I was going crazy. Your girl was thrifting every week, as you know. But I've stopped and I've thought a lot about, what am I consuming? Why do I need to have it? And what do I really need? So, this is kind of like a revelation to me. And all of a sudden I stopped shopping and I said, okay, this is a challenge. This is something that I'm dealing with. These are problems that I'm dealing with. And, the stakes were high. Like, I get it. I understand the rush. I 100% understand the dopamine rush of getting something that you've seen in somebody else's house. All of a sudden it's in the thrift store at a fraction of the price that they paid, and you have to have it. I 100% understand that urge. And I've really acted on that urge pretty much as I've wanted over the past couple of years. But because of that, I've dealt with some serious like space challenges, and I've got a really nice house. I've got a spacious house. There should be no reason for me to not have room for things, but yet I still have a couple of more junk rooms that I need to clean out, and my garage has got, a collection of items. Even though I've hired a professional to come in and help me purge that garage, I still have items that I need to get rid of. So, when I think about it, I'm like, wow, I need to really stop and think about it. But then there's also the challenge, I feel like I'm being left out. I feel like if I don't get it, why somebody else could get it, and then I'll be envious of them. And, there's really no room for that in my life. I've kind of let that one go real quick, but I understand that urge. I understand what people feel when they see somebody else have something and they want it. And you know what? If you've got the money, swipe the card, swipe the card, swipe the card. I totally get that. But there's a point where you got to stop and think, like, do I really have space in my life for all of these items? Some people are maximalist decor people. I would probably say I have become one of those people. But probably my favorite rooms are the ones that have the least. Unless it is like decor on a wall or something that's like put away in its proper location, it has a space, it's not sitting out on a table, or it's not jumbled up in a corner. I like to have more space and cleanliness, and I like to know that everything has its space. So I would say I am a maximalist when it comes to decorating, but I'm also a minimalist when it comes to my space and how it helps me to feel like a clear thought process and feel happy and feel like I can relax. A lot of people can't relax in a dirty room. I totally get that. So this is why I've kind of changed, my thought process. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that I question myself on before I thrift an item. My first question that I ask myself before I thrift an item is, do I need this? There's a difference between need and want, and we all know that, but we blur the lines. Listen, I need this beautiful plant holder because it's the only one in the world, and I just thrifted it. It's only $2, and I need this. Do I really need this, or do I just want it? Need is a little fickle thing. In our minds, we can easily convince ourselves that we need something right away, but we don't. We don't need probably 9 out of 10 items. Now, if you are, out of forks and you find a brand new fork set in the thrift store, okay, yes, I need forks. Wow, I found them in the thrift store and they're great and they're brand new and they're a fraction of the price. That is a need. Do I need, the 20th, plant holder, or do I need the 20th light fixture just because it's really cool and unique? No. So I've really, kind of like pushed forward with that need question, and it's, it's challenging. Sometimes I'll put stuff in my cart and I'll ride around with it. And then at the end I'll go, okay, let's be serious about it. And sometimes I'll, just really purge the whole cart and walk out the door. And that's really helped me. Question number 2 goes along with question number 1. You ask yourself, do you need it? And then you ask yourself, do I already have one of these? And is it in perfect working order? And do I really have to get this second one? If you are a plant collector and your neighbor brought over a really nice plant clipping and you do not have any more plant pots, but you have a bunch of them, you just don't have another one, well, then go ahead and pick up one at the thrift store. It's a fraction of the price. You can go to a garage sale. You might even find them for free on Marketplace. So, if you already have a collection of items, dig from that. Go use that. Go into your garage like I have. I've got a pile of plant pots and, I could just use that. I don't need the decorative fancy one that I just found in the thrift store if I have something that is perfectly usable. Now, does it go with my decor? Those are all the things that you need to ask yourself, because you really want to know if you're thrifting items that will serve you in the end. So, do I already have something? I might already have something. So look around your house and see if you have something. Think about it before you take it into your cart. If you have to put it in your cart to satisfy that dopamine rush, go ahead. I totally get that. But walk around with it for a while. And sometimes that'll wear off and you'll get your senses about you, and that'll help you make the decision. Question number 3, can I borrow it? Okay, let's just say you're having a party at your house and you want to have all this beautiful thrifted decor, and totally, I get that too. I love to have really fancy decor, and I figure I can get it for a fraction of the price at the thrift store. But then after the party, I have all of these items that will probably never be used again. Think about borrowing stuff from your friends. Does your friend have a cute little setup that you can borrow? Do you need a table? Well, see if you could borrow the table instead of buying it. That will save you not only money, but space in the end, because then you won't have it in your house. You won't have to figure out what to do with it. It just really will provide you with this satisfaction of having this rush of new things and beautiful decor in your house or whatever you need. But that's only a temporary need. So, I have been guilty of doing this myself. I'll go out and buy a table or go out and buy some chairs because we're going to have company. Well, now I've got, metal chairs sitting around in my garage, just waiting for that party that we're going to have where we need, another 15 chairs. Why did I buy those? And I bought those at full price. Why did I buy them at full price? I could have even thrifted them for a fraction of the price if I was patient, but then I could have even gotten even more satisfaction by not even buying them, but by borrowing them. Oftentimes your friends or family members do have the supplies or the things that you might need to help you in your time of need. And you vice versa. Think about it. If your neighbor came over and asked you, hey, I'm having this get together and I need some plant vases. Do you have some? I know I do. And would you say no? Of course you wouldn't. So think about it. Can you get it free from somebody that you know or love and borrow it and then return it? Because that will then provide you with the relief of not having to find a location for these items to be put away. And you will also give them back to the owner. That way it's a temporary use. You've showed off your fancy and then you give it right back. Question number 4, can you get it for free? Now, I have to admit this is probably my most fun tip because it's almost like a treasure hunt, but in the end, the treasure is free. So my best tip for you on this is if you really need something and you are looking for it and, you just can't live without it, see if you can get it for free. Now, that means a relative might have a stash of things at their house, or a friend might be getting rid of something, or you can join groups, free groups on social media sites such as Facebook. And they could be neighborhood groups, or they could be larger groups that, people can send you items if you just pay their shipping. But I'm a member of a local group here in my community where it's free stuff. And people just are philanthropic and they give and receive. And I have received some really beautiful items, and I look at them as gifts from people. I have received plants for free. I have gotten some bed frames for free. There are quite a few things that I've actually gotten for free, no money whatsoever, just by simply looking on my free site. And that, gives you an opportunity if you want to, give some of your items away. That gives you a place where you can give items away where they're going to be used in a meaningful way and people want them. So think free if you really need it. Question number 5 to ask yourself when you're in the thrift store and you really want to buy something, but you don't know if you necessarily need it, which is one of the tips. Question number 5 is ask yourself, do I have room for it? Like I said, I'm kind of a maximalist when it comes to decorating, and your girl cannot pass up going to a Goodwill bins, the bins where they've got the big well, the big bins, and it's like an outlet, and you just go and pay by the pound. Trust me, your girl cannot resist going to one of those. But I will say the last couple of times I went, I was pretty mindful about what I was going to take home. And I did put back a lot of items after walking around with them in my cart for a while. I felt like I needed this blanket, I needed this table, or needed this chair. And oh God, cookers, like you can get a cooker for really cheap at the thrift store, and probably somebody has never even used it. So you have to think really hard about the fact of, do I have space for it? My husband's a chef. So I one time thrifted a whole bunch of knives. My husband has yet to go through those knives. It is a bin full of knives, some of which I know are expensive because I have bought him brand new knives. When we were younger, that was one of my gifts I would give him almost every holiday or his birthday or something. I would get him a knife because he was a professional chef. He needed this item. And, one knife could be like $100. Okay. So I thrifted all these knives. That man still hasn't gone through all of the knives just to figure out which ones. I wish he would have been with me when I was thrifting, because then I probably would have saved a whole bunch of money. But the fact of the matter is he has to go through it because I don't have space for it. They're sitting in a box, a bin back there, waiting to be gone through. So it's really important to think, do I have space in my life to deal with this? A lot of times the answer is going to be no. Question number 6 you can ask yourself is, can I do the one in, one out method? And what that is for every one item you bring into your house, you take one item and you get rid of it. That's actually a great way to satisfy that need to thrift or purchase items without cluttering up your home. So I've started thinking a lot about that. If I bring something in, what can I take out of my house? And, that's a challenge for some people because they think, oh, I need everything, or I might need something. Oh, I might need something. That gets me every time. I'm not going to lie. So think about that. Can you bring something in, but then you have to bring something out? That's just a quick question that you can ask yourself. Do you have a set of plates that you want to get at the thrift store? Yes. Can you get rid of the old set of plates that you have? You can, but do you want to? Do you really want those plates? Really? That's a great question. Really quick question to ask yourself. Question number 7 to ask yourself is, why am I buying this? That is a little bit of a psychology question to ask yourself. I totally get it. Sometimes that might be a little too deep when you're actually in the store and you really just want to follow through with your instinct to buy something. But I actually have caught myself asking myself that question out loud in a thrift store several times. Why am I buying this? And it's so funny. Somebody across the row might say, I don't know, girl, we all buy stuff that we don't need. Listen, great minds think alike, or misery loves company. Either way, I get it. Like asking yourself why you're buying something is kind of psychological, but it really is kind of a food for thought. It's almost like a stop button. For me, if I go through all of those other questions and then I ask myself at the end, why am I buying this? I almost ask myself in a way that's kind of judgy, because I really do want to judge why I'm doing it. If I'm doing it for some positive reason, because I really need it, or I really want to have this decor or this item in my home, then I won't feel judged. I won't feel like I'm judging myself. But if I ask it in a judgy way and I know it's frivolous, I'll be honest with you, I kind of tell myself, no, it's not like a bullying thing. I almost think it's like a bullying situation of your own bully, like your inner bully, but it's really not. It's just kind of like good angel, bad devil on your shoulder, and it's like they're working against each other. That's really what's happening in the thrift store for me sometimes. So I think that's a really good question to ask yourself. What am I doing? Okay, and now it's time for my bonus question that I ask myself. And really, this has become the most meaningful question that I ask myself, and I really am finding joy from it. And the question is, can I make it? I'm not going to say that I'm the most crafty person in the world or the most skilled creator in the world, but I do enjoy trying to make items. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time for a hobby. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. We all have time. We have to just prioritize our time. And I've been doing that with learning how to knit. Now, many of you know I crochet and I dabble in sewing, but recently I have been very consistently knitting items. And this is one of my first creations that I feel comfortable enough where I actually wore it on television at work. As you know, I'm a TV news anchor by day, that's my career. And I actually wore this on TV, and I found the most rewarding thing about that whole day is not the fact that I wore it, it's the fact that not a single person asked me if I made it. And if you are a creator, if you're a maker of things, you know that's probably the highest compliment, is if somebody thinks something you have made looks so professional that they don't even ask you if you made it. So at the end of the day, I walked around and I told several people that I really care about that I made this, and they were all shocked. And I get goosebumps just even thinking about those conversations because it was so rewarding. This top that I'm wearing took me 40 hours to make. 40. Yes, I know that's a lot, but I didn't do it all in one setting. I did it over a month. And for me, that was like really putting the pedal to the metal. Maybe two and a half, 3 weeks. Yeah, it took me 2.5, 3 weeks to do this, but it was because I had a lot of time on my hands, or I made the time. You know, I frankly just make the time. I get up early in the morning, I'll drink my cup of coffee, have a bagel, and then I'll do 45 minutes of knitting. And it's only because I get great satisfaction in creating fabric. You know, I'm enjoying creating the fabric. I'm going to tell you more about this sweater in another episode, but I just want you to know that you can ask yourself if you can make something. And the satisfaction that I get from wearing this one sweater over the 2 times I've worn it, I wore it this week for work and now I'm wearing it now, I am more satisfied by wearing this than any item I've thrifted. It's just true. I just really take a pride in this top. And so you got to stop and think, you know, is it something, if I'm thrifting something, is it really going to make me proud and excited to have in my wardrobe or in my house? Or is it something that I can make and I can really put my stamp on it? For me, this has become the most meaningful question that I can ask myself. And it's changed my life in a way that I hope is permanent. I hope I become, you know, more apt to allowing myself the delayed gratification and making it myself. If you didn't get to see my last video about purging and what I've learned from thrifting too much, please take some time to watch that video. I feel like it could be something that everybody can identify with and understand. So I'll make sure I put a link above, and I'll also put a link into the end of this video. So there you have it. Those are my 7 questions plus the bonus on questions I ask myself before I thrift items. Now, I'd love to hear some feedback from you. I am enjoying sharing my musings with you, and I was wondering if this is something that you would like to hear more, to see more. I know people probably would like to see me thrift more and consume more, but that's just not part of my DNA right now. I do enjoy going thrifting. It's not something that I'm going to let go, but it's definitely not something that I'm going to do every week as well. I'm enjoying creating, like I said. So if you'd like to learn more about my knitting, I know that's a departure from what my channel has been all about, but for me, it's becoming more and more authentic, and like having these conversations or even just showing you what I'm working on is more authentic to me. And I think you might be able to see that because like I have a very much of excitement talking to you about this. I'm also nervous about this video. I'm not sure if it's going to resonate with people. So if it's resonated with you, or if you have any questions that you ask yourself before you thrift an item, put it down in the comments. Also, if you have any tips for further conversations, please do me a favor, either leave it down in the comments or you can send me a private message at jodeekenney@gmail.com. This has been exciting and nerve-wracking, and I even like wrote myself some notes. Like, it's just to, I really want to find a way for us to connect authentically. And I kind of feel like I'm just talking to like my girlfriend, and we're like sitting in a strategy meeting. We're talking about all the things that we can do together. And I hope that you're feeling that, because, I love us connecting on a deeper level. Yeah, shopping is fun, but man, conversation and bonding really kind of just does it for me. So I just really want you to know that I truly appreciate you. This has been, nerve-wracking and fun, so I just need to hear from you. Leave me a comment below, send me a message on any ideas that you'd like to hear in the future, and until then, beautiful, have a wonderful week. I truly love you and appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe. I love you. Have a great week, my friend, my beautiful friend.